actually, we are just going to demonstrate some basic EC2 instance creation. As we know that you basically know about AWS. You might have heard about AWS. Now AWS is not unfamiliar. It's a very popular name in the field of cloud computing. AWS is a cloud platform and it stands for Amazon Web Services. So we know that the cloud is for every use these days, especially in the field of IT. Even all major companies either migrated their physical infrastructure over cloud environment, or they are in a process to do so. So such kind of actually the changes in the industry are being seen because of some advantages of cloud computing over our traditional IT infrastructure. It means one thing is very clear. So the cloud computing is now necessary to learn for every IT professional or people somehow connected with the cloud services or cloud computing. Nowadays, cloud computing is being used almost in every field. So if we take some example, we can see the use of cloud computing in education, IT infrastructure, software deployment, and entertainment industry, e-commerce, medical field, research and development, and many other areas we can mention. In addition, with the help of cloud computing, it would be easier for us to implement actually some complex technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning, where we need the huge data and the mixed kind of a data is required. So AWS, we have in AWS, we have number of specific services. If we talk about the total professional services, more than 200 fully featured services are there in AWS. And if you're talking about the major and minor services, more than 1,500 services, total services are there in AWS. And AWS global infrastructure also is very vast. No doubt, AWS is #1 in public cloud computing. And so straightforward, we explain that the AWS is significant to start your career in cloud computing, right? So I would like to give my introduction here. My name is Sanjay Sharma. I'm a professional trainer. I'm AWS certified. I have a certification in many other areas as well. I'm a technical consultant, subject matter expert, and a trainer for various technologies. I have more than 20 years of experience in the field of corporate training, project management, business operation, content development, and subject matter expert, as with some reputed companies. If I talk about my technical strength, my area of expertise in IT training with AWS, cloud computing, ethical hacking, cyber security, Red Hat Linux, VMware data center virtualization, and networking. I have attained number of certification and IT trainings, and these days we are giving the training to national as well as international clients. So we have a very long list of clients. So, but we have a little time for the introduction and discussion. I feel that this introduction is sufficient. Now, what exactly I want to share with you in today's session, because today is a basic and demonstration session. So what I'm doing, so can you see this diagram? So in this, I'm just explaining the flow of the training. So the first of all, we should start with actually the benefit of cloud computing. We are not starting with AWS, the benefits and cloud computing right now. I'm directly basically starting the launch of the first EC2 instance, how you can launch a first EC2 instance and how you can take the remote of the EC2 instance. It's a matter of just few minutes if you want to launch an EC2 instance in AWS. Basically, EC2 instance is a virtual machine in AWS, right? So the virtual machine is known as EC2 instance. EC2 is a name of a service, Elastic Compute Cloud. So as I told you, we have number of services in AWS. If you want to create a virtual machine, we have a service. If you want to create some storage, or if you want to manage some storage, you have a service. If you want to just manage your DNS server, we have a service. If you want to manage your mail services, we have a service. Means for every option, we have a service, right? So we have more than 200 fully featured services. For IoTs, we have a different level of services. For security, we have services. For basically identity and access management to create users, passwords, and some other roles and policies. We have the services. So means we have services for every need. So today I'm talking about the cloud, actually virtual machine. Before I'm just talking about the cloud services, I want to show you a simple mind map. So mind map, because when you start your any training, so you have some idea in your mind where exactly I am right now and where I have to reach, right? But what I will receive once I just complete the training, and ultimately, and what kind of knowledge you need to basically have some the good service or good job in your hand. So this is basically a simple mind map. In this, if you see, we have the two kind of basically the entrance in this cloud computing. Number one is the person who is very fresher. He has no experience and he is totally new and he has just completed his education. He wants to basically join the cloud computing. So we are just considering as a fresher. So if someone is a fresher, so it means he must complete some prerequisite to start the training. So he must have some knowledge about basics of, very basics of, fundamental of the TCP/IP that you normally study in your colleges. And you have a little knowledge about the system administration and Linux administration. And if you know about some basics of databases and some basics of the fundamental of the security is more than enough. But you must have some knowledge about all these things. So we will discuss all these things later on once we will start the full-fledged training. So today is a demonstration. So I'm not actually going into much deeper. But the second person who has some experience, let's say 5-year experience, 10-year experience, or 2-year experience, and he has a good, hands-on on professional level. So he can directly enter, and he has not to just go for all these the basic things. He can directly start with the cloud computing. In cloud computing, actually, cloud computing is based on virtualization. So little knowledge about the virtualization also is needed. So that we will cover in our course. And so you must have some understanding of the virtualization. So we will discuss about what is a hypervisor one, what is a type 2 hypervisor, and what are the functions and what are the advantages of virtualization. And then we'll talk about the containerization and the container orchestration. Means the container also is a lightweight machine. These days in microservices, companies are frequently using containers. So what are the containers and how you can just deal with the container, how you can manage containers. So we have two products here. One is from Docker and one is from the Kubernetes. So from Docker, we have a container engine, and the Kubernetes is basically used to orchestrate your container. You can manage your containers. This is a product of actually the Google was developed this. And second is, so when you have some understanding about all this, so we jump into AWS. In AWS, definitely we have a number of verticals. We have a vertical for AWS Solution Architect. We have vertical for DevOps. We have vertical for SysOps. We have vertical for security professional and artificial intelligence, machine learning, and database security. So you will, the very first certification that you require in order to start your journey in AWS is AWS Solution Architect Associate level. So this is the certification we have to do, AWS Solution Architect. So once you complete this certification, you will have a complete knowledge in AWS in architecture, right? So means you can go, you will learn you will learn and you will touch more than 30 services here, right? So if you study this, you will have a complete idea about this. And once you complete any one of these vertical, these are the role-based jobs. You can join as a cloud architect, a cloud network engineer, database engineer in AWS, security specialist in AWS, senior developer, or the data architect or the data engineer. So these are the basic things. And a few more things we are just going to introduce now in the list of courses is a Terraform. Terraform also is a very powerful tool to create and manage your infrastructure, not only on AWS. You can just use any cloud platform, the Terraform can be used. So this is a code as a basically infrastructure basically as a service, and this is basically comes under the code as a service. So code as a service means you have to write the code to create and manage your infrastructure in public cloud environment. And you definitely will have some idea about the Azure or the GCP. If you don't, so definitely you can just go for the Azure and GCP fundamental as well. So once you complete all these, basically the mind map path, so you can claim a good job in a company, number one. So in today's lecture, I'm just focusing on this is how to launch your EC2 instance with minimum steps. I'm not teaching any service today, right? I'm not teaching what is EC2, what is the complete form of the component of the EC2. I'm just explaining that how you can launch an EC2 instance and how you can take a remote of that EC2 instance, right? So I think you will find some interesting content here. So if you see this diagram, in this diagram, so in the center we have one virtual machine. Do you see? This is the virtual machine. In the virtual machine, we have multiple components. I did actually write numbers on these components: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's say this is your virtual machine. This is your EC2 instance. We can say EC2 instance, we can say virtual machine, we can sometimes say machine only. But this is your EC2 instance, right? Technically, if you say about this machine, if I'm using AWS language, this is a EC2 instance. So EC2 instance has some mandatory components that you will use to launch your EC2 instance. And the first is AMI. What is AMI? AMI is a machine image, Amazon machine image. Basically, this is a template of an operating system. Or you can say this is an image of an operating system, because we are not dealing with any physical DVD drive. We are not dealing with any pen drive. We don't have actually the access of any physical drive here. So we will use here image of an operating system. We will take the image of an operating system to launch a virtual machine. So the first component is needed, AMI. AMI stands for Amazon machine image, and this is the template of an operating system. So this template of an operating system contains operating system configuration as well as the user data. So I will talk about everything in detail, because the AMI also is a very big chapter, right? And second is you need actually the configuration of the instance, because when you create an instance, when you create a virtual machine, you always provide compute resources to one instance, right? You provide a CPU, you provide RAM, you also basically providing the configuration of network device that you network interface card that you connect with the virtual machine. So the instance type is basically the compute resource, and you are providing the compute resource at the time of launch of the instance. So we have a virtual CPU and RAM and the network capability in this. And I did write a T2.micro. Actually, T2.micro is an instance type. So this way, we have number of instance types. We have T2.micro, T3.micro, T1.micro, C3.large. Means we have more than 400 combinations of instance types, and every instance type and the category is for a particular use, right? So we will discuss every use in detail in the training. But in today's demonstration, I'm taking T2.micro because this is a free of cost, because AWS is providing you 1 year complete free tier account. Means once you create your AWS free tier account, you can access that account for 1 entire year. And for 1 entire year, you are getting some resource free of cost. Some resource free of cost. The entire AWS is not free of cost, right? So I will discuss what you are getting free and what you are not getting. What is the limitation? Of course, we have some limitation, because the same platform is being used in professional environment as well. So because we are the learner, so we need to work on the same platform. So with some limitations, AWS provides us AWS free tier account. Okay, the third component to create the instance is Ebs Volume. You know that every virtual machine will have one hard disk to launch operating system. Even in this virtual machine, we have EBS volume. So EBS volume is a kind of hard disk, right? Just understand. You need a hard disk in which you want to launch operating system, AMI, where you will launch your AMI in the hard disk. And where is the hard disk? This EBS volume, elastic block store. So the full form of EBS is elastic block store. So you will launch your operating system in this EBS. So we have a different kind of EBS volume. Even the capacity can also be changed. You can't believe the one EBS volume can reach maximum up to 64 TB. Can you believe? So one EBS volume can reach up to 64 TB in AWS, and multiple EBS volumes can be connected here. So it is means incredible. And all these EBS volume types SSD. I'm not talking about the old traditional hard disk. So this is the SSD volume I'm talking about. So in SSD, so you might have seen that even in your laptop, you have maximum 1 TB. And these days, 1 TB SSD, if you're just going to purchase, that you cost you around 30,000 rupees, 30,000 Indian rupees. So we are just starting here with less memory, of course, to launch this operating system. And this is a SSD volume. And second, the red color you see, this is the component. This is your external firewall. And it is a mandatory component of this virtual machine. Without the security group, we call it as a security group. So this external firewall also is known as security group. So without the security group, your machine cannot be launched. So this is a mandatory component of your EC2 instance. And this component is used to filter outgoing as well as incoming traffic. Means, so this is the firewall of your virtual machine. This is the firewall of your external firewall of your virtual machine. We will see it, right? Next is, you are here. For example, you are the person who is going to access this machine from the internet. You are sitting on internet and you want to access this machine from the internet. And in order to access this machine from the internet, you need a private key, correct? You need a private key. So basically, we are not using passwords here to access machine. We are using public and private key. Public key belongs to AWS. We download private key, correct? We download private key. If you have a private key, you can take the remote of the instance. If you don't have the private key, you cannot take the remote of the instance. Means this is kind of a security AWS is providing. Only authorized people can take the remote of the instance. So why you should take the remote? To work on the machine, right? So by the way, these are 5 components. The first is AMI, second is configuration of the machine, third is EBS volume, fourth is security group, which is known as external firewall, and fifth component, very important, is a private key. So let me show you how to create this instance and how to take the remote. So in order to just create this instance, this is my AWS Management Console. So when you log in into your account, so this is the very first screen you see. And this first screen is known as AWS Management Console. So I'm not explaining right now because the number of things are needed to explain first of all. Like we have a AWS logo, what is the purpose of this? We have the services, we have the search box, we have Cloud Shell, we have bell icon, we have a support center, we have the list of regions here, right? What are the regions? Regions are the part of global infrastructure. And this is my account. And you can just know about the account ID, then the service quotas, billing dashboard, and the security credential, and number of things are there. So we will discuss about in our training one by one, each and everything. Let's say I want to start a service EC2. Why? Because in EC2, we can create a virtual machine. So first of all, you will go to the search box and you will write EC2 here. As you write EC2, number of things you have in front of you. So very first thing is a services. Under the services, the first thing is EC2. If you click on this particular icon or is this EC2, so you are just going to open EC2 dashboard or EC2 service. So let me click on this. So you click on this EC2 and you see this is the dashboard you have, right? So this is the dashboard you have. And left hand side, we have instances. You click on instances. And here we go. in my account, actually, I have two stopped instances. Means my account is not empty. So I created actually these instances for some use to avoid any charges. I stopped these machines. But now you want to create a new machine. You want to launch a new machine. So do you see the orange color button here, right inside on the top? So launch instances. Click on launch instances. Click on launch instances. So very first, now you can see the launch instance screen. So in this launch instance screen, the first of all, you need to write the name of the machine, right? Let's say I'm writing my Linux server. Let's say I'm writing my Linux server. You can write any name. So in order to identify your machine. Secondly, if you go a little down, these are AMIs. So definitely, I told you earlier, I'm not teaching you in detail, because even AMI has multiple basically sections. We have AWS Marketplace, we have AMIs, your own created AMIs, and you can also use some recently used AMIs. And we have a popular list of AMIs as well in AWS, right? So this is the tile we have AWS Linux. So this AWS Linux is very similar to Red Hat Linux. So AWS Linux is created by Amazon. So I'm choosing this one. We have the number of operating system. You can choose Ubuntu, Microsoft Windows, Red Hat Linux, SUSE, and we have a long list, right? We have even Mac operating system can also be launched, but Mac operating system is not free. So, but Linux instance that you are just going to create is free. So we are just selecting this one, and we have a long list of AMIs. I will tell you, because more than 5,000 total AMIs and AMIs and the product in terms of AMIs are available in AWS. So you go down, instance type. What is the instance type? Configuration of the machine. Means you want to allocate some compute resources to your virtual machine. Means how much virtual CPU is required, how much RAM is required. So let's say I'm taking, this is a free tier eligible. Very clearly it is written. If you open it, definitely you have a long list of this is a long list of configuration. But I'm choosing only free tier eligible T2.micro. If you are taking T2.micro, you will get one virtual CPU and 1 GB RAM, right? One virtual CPU and 1 GB RAM. Really, I'm telling you, the one virtual CPU and 1 GB RAM is sufficient, more than sufficient, even to run your Windows 2019 operating system. The reason is very simple. We are using Xeon-based hardware on AWS data centers. So the performance of the machines are extremely good, extremely good. Now, if you go down, you need to provide the key for login purpose. As I told you, we cannot provide the passwords here. We will provide only public and private key. So you need to, that's why it's using key pair. Pair means two keys. The one is a public key and one is a private key. So when you give the name, when you create a new key, you are going to create a pair of keys. One is a public and one is private. But you can download only the private because the public belongs to AWS. Now, just click on create pair. You need to write the name of the key. Let's say a key, today's date I can write 27, a key 27 May. Let's say this is the key, a key 27 May. So I did write the date of the day. Now we have the key pair types, let's say RSA, and this is very important because the key can be created in two formats. One is a PEM format, another is a PPK. If you are using PuTTY or PuTTY to take remote of the instance, in that case you will choose PuTTY, means PPK format. Otherwise the PEM format is okay. So for me, PEM format is okay because the most of the people in AWS are using PEM, right? So I do not want to restrict on any specific software because the PuTTY is a terminal emulation software. So, but if you are using PEM, you can use any platform to take the remote of the machine. Now just go and create key pair. As you click on a create, it will ask you to download the key. This is the key, a key 27 May. Okay. You did it and you download it. You can see left bottom, the key has been downloaded. Great. So the key has been created and the key has been downloaded. So the key part is done. Now the network setting. In the network setting, definitely I'm not making any big changes. The reason is very simple. I'm taking the default VPC. VPC is what? VPC is network. In your AWS, you can create multiple networks, right, in a particular region. And if you see right hand side on the top, I'm in North Virginia right now. So North Virginia is what? North Virginia is a region. It's a geographic location, right? So I selected by default North Virginia, and this is my favorite region because any new change first comes in North Virginia. So that's why I use North Virginia. If any new changes AWS apply, the first AWS applies in North Virginia. And let's say this is your network setting. And because this is a Linux instance, and that's why SSH traffic is allowed. So this is the configuration of security group, firewall. Do you see? So here you are just configuring your firewall. In order to take the remote of Linux machine, port number 22 from the internet or from a specific IP address must be opened. So let's say by default, SSH is allowed from anywhere. It's okay for me. But if you want to restrict traffic, I will tell you in detail how to restrict traffic as well. But still, I think the SSH is okay to take the remote. And now, if you go down, this is the configuration of the storage. So as I told you, EBS volume, I was talking about EBS volume, elastic block store. So this is basically the elastic block store. And it's saying that AWS by default is providing 8 GB hard disk to launch your operating system. And it is really enough because you will not consume more than 2 or 3 GB to launch this machine. So the rest 5 GB you will have in your hand. But if you want to increase the size of this volume, definitely you can increase up to 30 GB free of cost. So because we are using free tier account, so up to 30 GB free of cost, you can increase the size of the volume. And I told you because this size can go up to 16 TB, but generally we use high volume in production, not for testing, not for learning. So 8 GB is okay for me. And I just go down and launch instance, click on launch instance. You see the instance is being launched, right? And here we go. So view all instances. And if you refresh the screen, you can find this is the instance. So this was the name of my instance, my Linux server. Yes or no? So, and you can see this is pending and you have used t2.micro configuration. And this is your instance ID. And if you see here, can you see this curtain? You can find, if you selected this, you can find the details of the machine, security, networking, storage, status checks, monitoring, tags, number of things are there. And you will definitely take a number of classes to understand all these concepts. So I'm not detailing all these things because if you go down, you see the number of options are there, number of features are there. So, but this is the public IP address of the machine. Can you see? This is the public IP address of the machine, and this is private IP address of the machine. So we need a public IP address to take the remote of the machine, right? We need a public IP address. Now, and you can see the machine has been started. It is running. So we were talking just in a minute, the machine is ready. It's incredible. The machine is ready. Means in a minute, machine is ready. So generally in your on-prem environment, even if you are working on a very fast infrastructure, even though your machine takes 15 to 20 minute time, but here in a minute, your machine is ready. You can take a remote of the machine. So I'm telling you simply two methods to take the remote of the machine. The one is without the key, because I can use AWS console because I'm a root user. I'm the owner of this account, right? I have the full control on this account. So being a root user, I can just directly connect to the instance. So if you click on connect, and this is the public IP address, right? This is the public IP address of the instance, and this is the user. And from where this user came, actually you have used that AMI, and AMI was ready-made template. So in the ready-made template, the username of this machine was EC2 user, right? But later on, if you want, you can change the username as well, right? It's up to you. Now, go and just click on connect. As you click on connect, you will see you took the remote of the machine successfully. It will take a little time, and you see you took the remote of the machine successfully, right? And if you want to just ping up internet, so let's say google.com, I want to ping google.com. Will I able to ping the google.com? Yes, you can do it. Correct. So actually, hardly you took, because I took some time to explain the things. Otherwise, in a minute, you can start the machine. In a the total 1 minute, you will not take more than 1 minute to start a new machine. This is great, and this is incredible also, right? So, and what is the next method? If you just close this, is there any other method to take the remote of the machine? Yes, there are multiple methods to take the remote of the machine, right? Even you can use your own computer to take the remote of the machine. What was the key name you have used? This is the key name. I tell you, this is the key name of the machine that you have used. Let me show you. Yeah, this is the key. Key 27 May. This is the key. So in my computer, let's say this is my command line. This is my CMD, right? Let's say this is my command prompt. I'm using a command prompt to take the remote of the machine. This is also a very incredible feature we have. The first of all, I'm just going to downloads. Why I'm just going to downloads? Because my key is persisting in this. So the key name is directory key 27 May, right? This is the key. Yes or no? This is the key. I can see that the key is created today only, and this is the complete information about the key, right? And now, if you want to take the remote of this machine, you first copy the public IP address of the machine, right? And go back. And right here, one command, let's say SSH -I. I is an option to insert the key. And the key name is a key 27 May, right? Username of the machine, EC2-user @ IP address of the machine. This is the public IP address of the machine, right? And you press enter. It will ask you to say yes. You type yes and press enter. And you took the remote of the instance. Can you see? You took the remote of the instance. Now you are in a Linux instance of your AWS. So this is an incredible way. Not only from the Linux machine, you can take the remote from the Windows, you can take the remote from PuTTY, you can take the remote from MobiXterm, you can take a remote from even Cloud Shell, and you can directly take the remote, right? But only authorized person can take the remote. Because here I was also using what I was using. If I exit, I was using this key, .pem key. So this PEM key I had, that's why I was able to take the remote of this machine. So this was a very small demonstration I just tried to give you, right? So this is a total approximately 36-hour course, and AWS Solution Architect is an ultimate course if you want to be a professional in cloud computing. And why AWS? AWS is the biggest cloud computing platform. If you're talking about the market of AWS, approximately 62% market belongs to AWS. And it does support to almost every operating system, every popular language, every popular platform, right? Almost every solution you have, you can store unlimited data in it, and it is extremely economical also. And you can calculate before implementing any infrastructure, before creating any infrastructure. If you want to calculate some estimated cost of the infrastructure, you can calculate in AWS very easily. So number of things are there. So we will learn in training. And I hope you like this demonstration. If you have any question, you please may ask. You can write the questions in chat, or if you can speak, you can speak. Hello. Shubham, are you there?
Yes, Sanjay sir. I'm here.
Yeah. Your voice is chopping. Actually, your voice is not coming to me. Okay. By the way, so we are closing the session for the day. I hope you have enjoyed this demonstration.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Hello,
Yeah,
Sanjay.
yeah.
I Sanjay, I have one query. I am from core networking field.
Yeah.
So I just try to learn cloud. So how it will help in my
If you are in a core networking field, this is the biggest advantage. You should learn this cloud computing, because in cloud computing, the networking professionals we need deliberately in our AWS. So we have a network specialty certification also. We have a VPN, VPC, and endpoints, connectivities, and direct connect, edge locations, and a number of things are there. All belongs to networking. And most of the people claims that they are from development side, they having good idea about programming and all. It's okay, but very few people claims that they have good knowledge in networking. If you have a good knowledge in networking, this is a good opportunity for you.
Okay, thanks Sanjay.
Okay.
Sanjay sir, I have also one question. I
Yes,
also
Subham.
belong. Yeah, I have also same 4 years of experience in networking domain. So
Mhm.
if I go with the cloud, my experience will be considered or not?
Yeah, you're because you have the great experience, and whatever the
Yeah.
experience you have, because you have the on-prem environment and cloud, the same concept is needed on the cloud. The same concept, the same knowledge, same work experience is needed on the cloud. Otherwise, you won't be able to understand what's happening in networking. Am I correct or not?
Yes.
So let's say somebody is talking about the BGP, somebody is talking about some encapsulation, somebody is talking about the VPN, somebody is talking about, let's say, networking stuff. Means if person from the non networking background, he cannot understand. The only person who can understand, having the good idea about these in this field.
Okay. Is it security part available here in AWS also?
Yeah. Security part also there. We have a one vertical in security as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else, please? Okay, thanks. So I think you have enjoyed this demonstration session, and for detailed learning, we will start the class. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Okay. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.